In this last section that we translated and read from Paul's letter to the Philippians, we notice in verse 1 that he addresses the saints, the holy people, that is the church there. That's instructive too, isn't it? That he identifies the church as those who are hagios, tois hagios, to the holy ones in Christ Jesus, to those who are set apart. We might call that positional sanctification. They're called and set apart. What is the church? The church is people who are called and set apart and belong to God, who are His holy people, and thus are to live as His holy people because they belong to Him. But I want to talk for a moment about that additional phrase there at the end of verse 1. Soon episkopois kai diakonos, right? To the overseers, even how we translate that, right? Yeah, someone's like, I translate that bishops. We're like, and tell us about the church structure that you're part of, right? With the overseers, or sometimes translated bishops, and the deacons. Now, obviously, Paul didn't write this letter as a systematic treatment of church structure, right? This is an incidental comment here at the beginning, but I think it's a comment that reveals something, right? It reveals that at this early stage of church history, it was the organization of the church was not just willy-nilly, but there were at least two recognized offices within the church. That of the, we could just use the Greek word here, the episkopos, right? Which I'm going to prefer to translate as overseer, and the diakonos, the deacon. And I know that in this course, Philippians course, there are people from all different kinds of church backgrounds with all different kinds of ecclesiology. So I'm not wanting to get in a big debate on that, but we can all agree that Paul here identifies two offices, right? And I think that's instructive. And I want to reference some materials that, if you'd like to read further about this, I would recommend. Again, I come from a Baptist tradition. I believe there are two offices in the church. There are deacons and there are pastors. I do recognize that the word pastor, or sometimes shepherd, right? The Greek word poimen is not the most common term used to apply to the teaching, preaching, disciplining leaders in the church. It's more common to use the word presbyteros, right? Elder, or episkopos, overseer. But in my opinion, all of those terms are interchangeable. The term for shepherd, poimen, the term for overseer, episkopos, the term for elder, presbyteros, seem to be used interchangeably. One of my dear friends with whom I've collaborated on a lot of Greek and New Testament projects, Benjamin L. Merkel, actually wrote his dissertation on this. I saw it's available in paperback now, which means you can save a lot of money if you want to get it. The name of the dissertation, and it's a dissertation, so it's rather technical, is The Elder and Overseer, one office in the early church. In other words, what he's arguing, it's not original to him, but his argument is updated and new things are taken into account from earlier, there are earlier people who make a similar argument, but his is updated and cogent, and I think done quite well. He's arguing that the presbyteros and the episkopos within the New Testament refer to the same office in the early church, the teaching and preaching office. So this is by Benjamin L. Merkel. And he also wrote a smaller book, just very practical for churches, about why they should have a plurality of elders, why that's the model in the New Testament. It's called Why Elders. It's a little paperback book, Why Elders. Probably, if you want to get Dr. Merkel's stuff accessibly and just have a lot of his thoughts about church structure, this wonderful little book, 40 Questions About Elders and Deacons. 40 Questions About Elders and Deacons. It's in the Kriegel 40 Questions series, and this is just filled with wonderful little 5 to 10 page discussions that spring off a question. So, for example, just looking at a few of the questions, how many church offices are there today? What is the role of an elder? Were Timothy and Titus pastors or elders? Should each church have a plurality of elders? How should elders be selected? So it's both theological and also very practical. So a wonderful little book. When Dr. Merkel was a missionary in Southeast Asia, he wrote this book, and then he envisioned how this could be a series. You may know the 40 Questions series has become extremely popular, has many wonderful books in it about all different kinds of things. I was honored to write, I think it was the second book in that series. Dr. Merkel invited me to do that. I'll just tell you real quick, it's 40 Questions about Interpreting the Bible. It's out in its second edition now, and it's basically a little hermeneutics textbook that's written in understandable language. But the main thing I wanted to talk about, I strayed from it a tad in this video, is just thinking about these references in the New Testament to church structure and how they should challenge us. I'm bound by the New Testament model, and I feel like I want to conform my church, even the language that we use to talk about our leaders, to what we have in the New Testament. I challenge you to think about that too, and I'm delighted to be on this journey through the book of Philippians with you.